Well, I am on my way to Northfield Park right now. I want to talk about what took place this morning. I watched, and I didn't partake in the 3-year-old training. One, because they're just putting in those workouts, right? Those middle of the road workouts, 217 to 225 at a mile and a half. Probably a lot of their last halves were between 105 and 106. A couple of 104s actually. A couple of 104s, so I wanted to touch on them and talk about this afternoon. I was thoroughly impressed with, actually, I was down a little bit on Wallup. A lot to talk about in that regard today, but it was unfair. I had to, I'm second over and the horse looks like he's going to pounce, then he comes up empty, but I have to be fair to the horse. 57 in that track today, the track is off at least 2 seconds, 100% for sure. Probably one of the better miles he's ever trotted. He was behaved at the gate. He was, I joked about, I did another video earlier and I just babbled on, so I just erased it. I know it happens very rare, but I did. But when it comes to Wallup on a scale of normal horse to Wallup, because before Wallup used to be extremely hard to deal with and extremely hard to drive, not in the mile, but in the warm-up, in the post-parade, he was very hard on the driver. Me, a lot of the time. Hunter driven him. He that bad race, the one night where the ring got hooked on the line. But not an easy horse to deal with. But as I was jokingly saying, on a scale of normal horse to Wallup, he was about a 5.5 today. He was pretty good today. I didn't mind him, and in the race, he was a perfect gentleman. Yeah, he didn't pounce on them late, but how could he? You only do so much. You can only ask a horse to do so much. That was a fast mile today. Anyway, we'll come back to Wallup. And we'll come back to our girl, Lover's Play. Let's start about this morning. I get up, looked out the window, it was raining. That's not true. I was laying in bed and I asked Addie to look at the window. She said it wasn't raining. To which I knew it was. I had to get up and look myself, and it was raining. But very lightly. Went to the barn, overcast, kind of rainy day, and I told Amy and Jason, I'm not going with anything. And Amy was a little upset. Not as upset she was the other day. We'll talk about that later. But she was a little upset. She was, you're not going with anything. I said, honey, I have to drive horses in the mud, in the rain, at the meadows. It's supposed to rain all day long. Then I have to wash my face off, clean my suit, come back, and drive in the mud, in the rain, at Northfield. So, no. I am not going with any 3-year-olds this morning. I will watch some go because I'm interested to see how they're going. But I will not partake in the training this morning. Now, I could have. It was overcast and barely spit the whole time I was there. But I did get to watch them. And sometimes it's nice to get a bird's eye view. I guess not a bird's eye view, but a bystander's view of how they were looking, how they were traveling. Then talking to Amy and Jason and Eric about what they saw. And putting it all together. I was thoroughly impressed with a number of horses. So I'm going to just run through who trained. Now, I didn't see them all train, but I heard about how they trained. Born to Dance trained good. Again, all of these horses have trained between 17 and 22, 23. They're getting close to going in the race bike to go a mile in 2:10, 2:8, 2:10. All of them. There is no stragglers. There's no issues. There's no lameness. I don't have any wood to knock on. There's no issues in that regard. I guess I should start with my video tonight. I'm going to talk to you before I drive Snap You. And there is a chance, if I get here and the track is terrible, which there's a very good chance it is, we're going to scratch No Chance in Hill. Remember, he was injured last year. Don't go poking the bear, right? Don't get up and complain on Thursday morning because you raced a horse on a terrible track Wednesday night that was vulnerable, and sure enough, he ended up sore. So we're not doing that. If the track isn't good, which maybe it is, I doubt it is, maybe it is, and if it is not, No Chance in Hill is not racing. So I'll get that out of the way right away. Born to Dance trained good, same as he always does. I didn't see him, but they say he was good. Flash Fly, Amy, of course you did that. Amy said that Flash Fly trained good too. Now, Amy's only concern, she said, Anthony, she's really quiet. With an open bridle on, she just doesn't really pick the bit up. And I said, honey, these green shoes, that's perfectly fine with me. I don't need them to be sharp and hot and crazy. Leave them alone. I know I said jokingly to you guys the other night, Jason hates going with insider trading because she is so quiet right now. And he's like, can we just now close her up? I said, I don't want her picking the bit up at all right now. There's no need of it. Just put the workouts into the horses, and when we need to turn to flip that switch, it's not a hard thing to do with them. None of them. So, quiet is the name of the game. Sorry, I didn't start from the top. Affection and Arson trained today. They've been training good, continue to train good. Green tea. Now, I wish, Dr. Rucker, I can give you a better idea of green tea very soon. Eric sneaks out the door early because he's hot. He can get a little hot, old green tea, which is fine. But he's going to have to wait patiently one of these days while I go with him. Just not right now. Again, we're getting to that 220-ish, give or take, mile and a half. And that, if you do that 3 or 4 times, you can snap in the bike, go mile 210, no problem. And none of them should be blowing your match out when you do that. And that's what we'll generally do. Train them between 17 and 22 at a mile and a half, put them in the race bike, go mile and 210, and wait. How did they train? How did they feel? How did they recover? Did they eat their lunch? How did they jog the next day? These are the questions I have after that mile, which we haven't got there yet, except for a couple of horses. I'm Fancy Like. I watched her train. She was good. Running in again. Now, I did say in the video before, I looked over the staking again. We're really trying as hard as we can to clamp down on the staking this year. And I looked at I'm Fancy Like and Born to Dance and said, nice horses. Going to be solid Buckeyes, fair type horses. Not sire stake horses. They weren't last year. They aren't this year. Why do we have them staked in the sire stakes? It's a waste of money. So I did remove them, and that may be a surprise to our clients, but I don't think it should be. I think that's not the only changes we're going to make. I'm going to look closer, and I know inevitably people are going to say, well, Sedona Hill, you've paid in the sire stakes. Trotters are not pacers, right? You get a softer division, a softer crew, for whatever reason, which you're not going to have on the pace. There may be a spot where those horses could move up, and we had the same thing last year where, you know, we wanted to race in the Consolation. We wanted to race in the Buckeye Final. But again, a little bit different on the trot than the pace. I don't want to muddy the waters too much here today. So Flash Fly trained great. Again, really happy with her and happy that she is quiet. Green Tea trained good again, Eric said. Gypsy Hill. I watched Gypsy Hill train now. Jason said, Anthony. Gypsy Hill, last year he would chew at his hocks. And he would get out of gear a little bit. Starting to get a little speed into him with flip-flops on. I noticed he was doing a little bit similar today. Again, nothing to worry about. We knew this day was coming. What do we do next? I'm going to change his shoes, take the flip-flops off him, go to a 9/16. I asked the blacksmith to maybe just dull that toe a little bit, put a little bit longer shoe on him behind, see if we can get him out of those jacks, out of those shins. And see how he trains next time. And it's almost time, too. We're going to put the hobbles likely on him again for the year, I would imagine. They'll be going on at some point. No rush, but he looked very good today. Very happy with him. As I said, I'm Fancy Like, look good, running in a little bit. Probably going to go back to that head pole that she wore all last year. Insider trading, I thought she trained great. Jason said, yeah, she trained good. She looked good. Still won't pick the bit up. No problem. She picked it up last year plenty. Irresistible Sun. Now, I didn't see him go, but I know that Jason said the horse is trained well, and I know how he's been training. This horse has been very, very good. So, again, very happy with him. Lonely Lakewood trained great. Also, I can't wait to talk about Lover's Play. Mel Gibbswan. Amy said she trained Mel Gibbswan. He trained very good. She said he was really strong in the face. I said, he'll get that way going slow. You get him up to speed, no problems whatsoever with Mel Gibbswan. Memory and Imagination. I watched him train. He trained good. Now, Eric hasn't even had the hobbles on any of these horses. Why would he need to? Pickpocket, Memory and Imagination. They don't need hobbles right now, right? A lot of them. In fact, I don't know if any of our horses have had hobbles on yet. Which is not really a big deal anyway. So, Memory and Imagination trained well. Militant. I didn't see Militant yet. He's in Canada. Mounds for All. I trained him the other day. I thought the horse trained very, very good. He'd come back with another slow mile. So I'll set the table properly. He made a little break on Amy Saturday. I wanted to make sure that nothing was going on. Friday, made a little break on Amy. We drew his blood. There was nothing wrong as far as his muscle count is concerned. She thought that maybe he was acting a little tied up. He can get a little cranky, a little pacey sometimes. So I went back out with him, hit him a snap of the whip before I trained him. The horse trained very, very good. Trained good again today. Eric said he got a little shuffly leaving out of there, so we just put toe weights on him when we shot him today. I noticed when I looked at the blacksmith, Amy was the one that actually mentioned it. We picked up the shoes of a couple of the horses. Now Mel Gibbs one, little pigeon-toed. So is what's wrong with my head today? Mounds for All. Also, now pigeon-toed is this, okay? There's a perfect way the horses stand. This is pigeon-toed, this is standing off a little bit, right? So both of the horses are a little pigeon-toed. Mel Gibbs Swan, Swan for All, and Mounds for All, Swan for All. So as I'm getting at, a little indicative of the breed. Now, it's important that those horses are shod accordingly. When you pick up, both of them have flip-flops on. You can see the outside of one shoe was worn a little bit. The inside of the other flip-flop was worn a bit. And this was important, and I had brought it up. Amy was the one that noticed it, and I brought it up to the blacksmith and said, hey, you're going to need to lower this guy a little bit here, lower this guy a little bit here, make a mental note of it, and we'll reassess that in 2 weeks. So new shoes put on both of them today, but they both trained very good. We're at Pickpocket. I didn't talk to Eric about Pickpocket, but I guarantee you if there was anything out of the ordinary, he would have brought it up. I suspect he trained good today. Prince Charmer, Amy trained. I thought he trained very good also. Purple People Eater, I did not see go. I want to catch up to Jason with Purple People Eater, but she's been training good again. We knew this was going to happen. She was choppy when we started with her, but much, much better now. Sedona Hill, I watched train, running in a little rickety in the turns. Get the flip-flops off her. Get a normal shoe on her, a little longer shoe behind, get the boots off her, bandages, head pole and Murphy blind on the left like we had last year. I know I don't always like to say this is the way we had them last year, so this is the way she should be now, but at the same token, there's Jace. Hi. No. What about Purple People Eater? How'd she train today? Oh, you didn't go? Oh, where'd she go? Over to the other side?
She's been gone for 3 weeks.
Oh, you didn't see her go at all today? Who else do you go with?
Your filly there, trying to pull in the turns. Puppy.
Who?
Insider.
I saw her. She looked good when you got her in gear. All right. He hates training them when they won't pick the bit up. I shouldn't make fun of him, though. James is the same way. James hates when they won't pick the bit up. When they're training down, they don't need to pick the bit up, especially horses that raced as well as she did last year. Stress-free is the way to go. What about, where are we at here? Sunset Acres Girl is at the Meadows right now en route to Northfield Park. She'll be here soon. We'll get her ready for June. As Mike, one of our partners, a number of our partners mentioned, June, the end of June is when they're going to start rolling in Michigan, so that's good. We'll have her ready. Don't worry. Sweeney trained good again. I like the way Sweeney looked. Time is on my side. Is back at Tim's right now. Excited to see this guy coming back. As I said to Tim, no rush. Just got to have him ready in a month, and don't even care if he's ready for the next series. If he's ready, great. If he's not, that's fine too. By ready, I mean on his toes, ready to rock. Doesn't need to be that way until April, middle of April almost. Widespread Panic is training good. He didn't train today, though. Now we'll go a couple of 4-year-old train. Brace for Landing looked amazing this morning. I was surprised to get over this track so good. Amy was training. She came the last half of 104 on the jog cart at 1.5 miles, so she must have won 1:16, 17. He's ready to rock. He looked very good. I was so surprised to get over this track, though. I thought he'd falter in the turns, and when I saw him finishing up his mile, the last turn he went through quick was right after the mile. I was right there watching him go through, and he came screaming through the turn. I was very, very impressed. One, with the way Amy had him rolling, and two, the way he was trotting. I believe that might be it for today. Nope. Tactical Mounds trained good this morning also. I was very happy with what I saw from her. If I missed somebody, I apologize, but I believe that's it. So that was the trainers from this morning. I was happy with what I saw from them. All those horses are getting ready. So just that grunt work they're putting in right now. As I said, probably go right back the same. Maybe aim for 15 to 18 at 1.5 miles on. Friday's gonna be tough. Saturday it's supposed to rain. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Friday might be a really busy day. We'll see. And today, so I got finished up watching them train, and I went to the Meadows. Now, then I knew the track was going to be terrible. I felt bad for Lover's Play. She's such a nice filly, and have to race in that slop again after qualifying in the slop. Must have been nerve-wracking for her. I'd asked him how she trained this week, and he said she was running out, getting a little out of gear, which I didn't mind. We changed, we went from, so this is what we had on our last week. When we trained her here, she would get out in the straightaways and she would get out of gear, right? She would interfere and get out of gear. So we had a line pole and a Murphy outside. Then she got running in a little too much in the turns. I said, rather than screw around, I'm just going to add a line pole to the inside. When I went to qualifier, she was just paralyzed on that right line finishing up. Well, that right pastern is the problem, right? That's the one she hurt last year. It's got to be hurting her a little bit. Tim's grooms, caretakers, worked really hard on her all week. He said she trained good. All we did was go to a roller burr on the inside, so a big pole on the inside, and left the line pole loose outside. Late in the mile, you could see her getting in again. Might have cost me the win, but definitely cost me second. And we'll just take that line pole off. Just take it right off. Just go with the roller burr on the inside. I was so pleased with her. And I'll tell you how hard she trotted. Pulling up, I could hear her making a noise. Tim said, was she making a noise? I said, I think it was just a release. I think she worked so hard. She just pushed herself to the limit of what she was capable of doing today, which is, you don't see that very often. And anyway, they scoped her to make sure nothing wrong. A minor trickle of blood, but I think that's more endurance than anything else. And as I said to him, just go easy with her leading up to her next race. I don't think we got to push her too hard. And we'll race her accordingly. Again, we'll continue to race her like that until she is in tip-top shape. She was a little difficult, right? When you have a horse that had an injury last year, you don't want to put too much work into them because you might hurt them, right? You may actually hurt them as you're trying to get them prepared to race. So I was trying to find that happy medium for Lover's Play. I thought we were there, and as I mentioned to you guys last week, I remember coming off the track. Now, it's muddy, so it's hard to gauge. You can't assess and reassess because you're on a terrible track. Both her and Pull the Shoes. Were they tight enough? Maybe they did need another qualifier. I'll tell you what, Pull the Shoes is probably going to be raced in a very similar fashion tomorrow. Easy, let her rock on the end of it. She's got a long year ahead of her, and the first leg of this little mini series is certainly not going to tell the tale of Pull the Shoes. So she'll likely be raced easy. But Lover's Play today, just so proud of the way she behaved, and that is indicative of the way we train our horses. Here's a filly. Before she qualified, on pouring rain, a monsoon at the Meadows, had never seen a starting gate in her life. Didn't know it existed. Had no idea. Never got to school last year. She was injured. Never saw a starting gate in her life. Went right up, qualified. Today, she's going to go out of there and leave a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to get her hot. It's a tactical landings are like. So I just left her alone, let her fall in order, fall in place. Third over, I kind of sneak her out third over, just like she'd done it 100 times. Quiet, attentive, and as I started to creep off a helmet, you could feel her start to lean into her head check and come forward. She was trying so hard, and I know she was trying hard because I could tell what took place after the race. You could see she just, it was a release, right? And I knew it as soon as I heard it. Tim's like, we'll get her scoped. I said, yeah, you're not going to find much, I don't think. She was just trying hard. That's Lover's Play in a nutshell. So very, very proud of her. I was a little hard on Wallup, I think, when I talked to Tim after. I said, hey, he ended up second over. He really should have bounced forward and probably should have won that race. And then I look and I said, come on now. The track is terrible. It's at least 2 seconds off. Horse just trotted in 57. He was good at the gate. He was good in the race. He was fourth. Yeah, if that horse gets through him, fifth. It was his first start in a few months. And he just went 5 seconds faster than he did, almost 5 seconds faster than he did the week before in the mud. Come on, go easy. So I got to give some kudos to the horse. He raced well, as I would jokingly said at the start of this video, a 5.5 out of 10 on the normal to Wallup scale. He wasn't that bad today. He was very subdued and behaved. I was very happy with the way he raced. I'll be honest with everybody. We did have somebody that asked about buying Wallup, and I just think that there's other things we can be doing with Wallup, but I'm not going to shy away from putting him in a claimer. I believe the issue at hand is the person trying to buy the horse isn't in Pennsylvania. So if you claim a horse out of Pennsylvania, it has to race in Pennsylvania. I think it's 60 days, and I think it has to race at the Meadows for 30 days. It can't leave the Meadows area. It can't be raced outside of the Meadows, I believe, for 30 days. Not really what that person's looking for, or they probably would have just claimed him today, I suppose. So I'm interested. I'm intrigued. Here's a horse that mentally has grown up, physically has put on weight and grown up and looks good. Was behaved at the gate. Yeah, he was a little ornery, a little tough to deal with in the post parade, but not impossible. Not like you'd say, oh my God, I hate driving this horse. No, he wasn't that bad at all. Patrick the Prawn is annoying in the post parade. Stay Close is annoying in the post parade. Both of them are. Brace for Landing can be a lunatic in the post parade sometimes. So no, I don't think he was that bad today. And I thought he did race good. 57-1, 2 maybe. Good mile for that horse today. So I was proud of both horses today. Now we're going to go race Oh Snap You. Jason just took her up to the paddock. We're going to go race her and see how she does. I am going to watch the races here in a second. I am going to sit behind Oh Snap You. And if we decide that the track just isn't what we need it to be tonight, you're not going to see No Chance in Hill race for no particular reason other than I don't want to risk injuring him again. Now that is not to say he can't ever race in the mud, but is it necessary for him to race on March the 6th in a deep track? I say no. I don't think so. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. A lot of information to process. I was going over, as I said quickly, over the staking today. I'm trying to really clamp down on the staking and see what we have and what we don't have, what we should have, what we don't, what we shouldn't have. That came up this week and will continue to come up over the next few days. As I said, happy with what I saw from the 3-year-olds this morning. That's exciting. As exciting as it is to watch the 2-year-olds train, watching these sophomores get ready and go through their workouts is cool. It's really cool. So we'll see how that plays out also. So very happy with the way things are going today so far. We'll see how the filly races in the mud, and then we'll see if we're going to race the colt in the mud. But for right now, I'm going to let you guys go. Tune in. We'll talk to you all very soon. Have a wonderful rest of your night.